Hello, good people. Welcome to another piece of tutorial using MS Word. In this tutorial, we are going to learn how to write a database-driven letter or any form of document. In this, as you can see on my screen, say this is Dagado standing there. This sticky figure is a human resource person or some content manager. He receives some information. He has some database of people who have subscribed to a service delivered online or requested information service they are delivering that people can enter and make some requests. In this example that we are going to use, it appears the organization has knowledge of meaning of names of Ghanaians. So they put out a form online and people fill it up with their details. So let me show a sample database. So in this case, if this is a database of people who entered information in there, the first 1, 2, 3, the first 3 rows is what comes in online. Then we add this other information, a reference number to each of them that came in, generated some rough data of the address just for demonstration purpose. So this human resource person or a content manager is going to send a feedback in a form of a letter to each of these people, and this is about 200 and something people who need to receive the same English but different responses at some point. Some are females, and then in a sentence you are referring to as female, you know what it means, the pronouns that come in. So we want to use this data to demonstrate how you can still make your work easier instead of doing things manually. If you have to copy every person's information into a letter, copy and paste, it may sometimes be hectic and difficult to achieve some nicely done work. So we create a database containing the things that make the respondents different, and then the other parts that are the same remain. So the computer runs using a mail merge and then inserts the appropriate information and then generate the letters for the user, who is the content manager in this case. So let's go on. This is the data we're going to be connecting our letter to, and let's see how our letter is. I just indicated the parts where the information will be inserted, where they would pick up some of the areas where the differences will be. So this sticky guy I have drawn using Word. Let's say he is a man and he's supposed to send these letters to several other people. I have duplicated him minus his spine or whatever, the body part. He's supposed to send it to other people who are the ones who responded. So let me just do some illustration here. Let me group it as a single object, so I do not have to miss out when I'm dragging again. So he's sending to this guy. He's sending letters to these people. Right? So he can equally be duplicated and colored differently. And many more. So if each of these had to receive letters and then several of them, he will have a headache having to send this very information to them. So this is after you have used the internet on their website, then he is now responding, or she is responding with the appropriate addressing. His salutation will be determined by the sex or gender. You can say, if you want to say dear madam, then the database should have contained that if it's a female, and then dear sir if it's a man, database should have contained that. So that is going to be catered for using mail merge. So our letter, at the end of the day, we should have the areas that have broken lines there fill up with the appropriate information. So let's see how this letter pan out. So I take off this, we take off that, take them all off. Alright, so let's get this out of our way. So we have this letter already written up. Feedback on your requested origin information on your name. So requested origin information on your name. So that is how we are responding to the person. So if you look at the data, then this first person is a female and is Doe. Baby name, if you have a baby called Doe, the name means first child after twins. So but this person who is named Doe doesn't know, or her relatives doesn't know. So they go to the website providing that useful information and make the request. Now the website owners are responding, and that is that letter we have there. So the website owners have these reference letters they have now added, and the person who has entered their addressing information is what we have also roughly generated some things there inside. So let's go back and now go through the process. This is how we are going to connect this letter to this database in Excel. So save and close it off. In fact, if you don't close it off, you'll be meeting some errors along the line where there's struggle to share the file between Word and its original owner Excel. So we go to start this merger. We're going to create a mailing list, a mail merge, merging this document against the database which is in Excel. So we go to mailings, and then we start a mail merge to create the form letter which you intend to print or email multiple times. You intend to print or email multiple times. So we are going to write this letter multiple times. We are going to email it. So we are creating a letter, right? So it is a mail. It can be a mail which will be sent to several people which their emails are in the database, but in this our case we are using the information to fit into some of the areas whereby we may need to say he or she, or meaning different based on gender or where they are coming from or their name. So here we are doing a letter, right? So that is our letter. We are going to go through the process of connecting the database to it, right? We are going to use the existing list that we have created, which is that database of Excel. So we look for it where it is saved. Did I check where it is saved? I think it's saved in J. Yes, it's saved here. So, and then it has 3 sheets, and then where I have my data in, I have renamed the sheet as data sheet, and then I'm just selecting that one, and that is already selected. And actually the first rows, to make sure this is checked so that the connection will consider the first row in the data as column headers and not as part of the data. So we say okay. Now we have said okay. The database is connected, and you can see here was not highlighted. It was faded in some ash form. It was not active, those commands there. Now that we have connected to it, they are all active, and you can see the counting of the records. So now we are currently in the first record. If you click this, you can navigate and then navigate. So we are navigating the records and we are not seeing them. So if you click this to go to the last record, you will see how many people we are going to generate letters for. And the letter, flesh of the letter is the same. It's just that at some point some different meaning were attached to the letter. So doe has a different meaning, another name, child name, has a different meaning, and we are responding to all the children who are 240 children owners, or the children themselves, or name owners who are requesting for meaning for their name. So we are going to see this done. So let's go ahead and then show the contents. So we are going to address the specific person according to the data. So we're going to insert, we are going to insert the fields. each of those fields, each of those headings, columns in our data, as we saw earlier. The database contains these columns. It contains gender, whereby the person can either be male or female and that kind of thing. And then the name of the person will be addressing. Then the meaning, because we are responding with the meaning of their name, which they don't know, and they are making requests through our website, which we built with the aim of helping people know the meaning of child names or their names. So, and then the origin. We want to also tell where the person's name originated from. We want to have a reference if only we want to add it to the letter, and then the address of the person. So we can actually insert some of the information and leave some. So now we're going to address those. We're going to address all of them. We're going to address it by inserting the fields. Those things that drop, these are the fields. So we're going to address the baby name. So dear baby name, and then we put our ordinary comma, which is there everywhere, and then we go ahead and then look for where I have indicated those broken lines. So forgive me, I'm sitting here around this time. This is night, so we're going to insert the appropriate text, a field, to make the sentence complete. So we at this point wish to inform you that your name is originated from So we are going to insert the origin here. I mean, your name your name something, your name whatever the name it is. So we're going to insert another baby name again. So insert baby name again, and then take off what was represented, and then we want to add the meaning of it in there as a straight explanation in parentheses, or since the sentence is saying the meaning again, then we don't need those parentheses there. So it originated from, then we add the origin field. We're going to insert the origin field here, and then we delete those broken lines. It originated from. It means then we put the meaning variable, the meaning field there, and usually given to F children, or whether female or male, gender is there as F and F. So it means our data there, we will need to type the gender for, so that the sentence will be complete. So once we finish and we go and modify that data, it should reflect in our letter, so no worries. And then children of the people. So let's see which fields fit in there. Insert of the baby and baby name, the whatever. So take it, we have put some clans or ethnic group names in there, and that will be shown. So let's use the origin. So once again, thanks for the reference number. So we put the reference number here because we are saying they should put a reference number. So we insert the reference number field there. So that is that. So this our document is now completed. So let's say this is it. So that's for this place. We don't need to put. We can insert the date there. We can insert the date. That may be a date. So April 27th, whatever style you want, and you can check here so that the date's always current. Otherwise, to that day you send the letter only. So if we want that anytime we open the letter, the date should reflect the current date, then we would have checked this update automatically. And that will always be. But if we want to keep copy of it for reference, then we don't need to be updating. Otherwise, we lost track when this letter was composed. But for learning sake, let's put that there. So that is it. So tomorrow. So now let's see. Our letter is ready to be generated, to be merged into a big 240-page document, which can now be printed or emailed individually. So we are going to remove these if we want, so our letter can be clean. Right? So forget. So let's go ahead and see our letter generated. So where is our mailing? So we are going to go ahead and merge this letter. In fact, to see it on screen, let me take myself off this screen because I'm not learning myself. So to see this letter, to see some of the way the letter will appear, let's toggle on the preview results so that these field names will vanish and allow room for the real data which is coming from Excel to appear there. So we see the sentences will flow as normal sentences. So it means if we were not able, so now I've toggled that on. So it means that if we didn't know how to do this, then we would have been typing this and removing the reference and the names and putting them separately and copying the same document and pasting, copying repeatedly. But in this case, we have merged the document against the data which is lying there with some differences between their names, the origin of the names, the reference numbers are unique, and several other things. Then we would have been having that headache of having to add this information to each of the letters manually. But for now, with this mail merging, we just did this one, and now we are going to run it and then have all the 240 people who subscribe to our service online get their letter emailed or sent to them in any other form, printed or some other way. So I just want to show you on screen because I won't be printing this. So now that I have previewed it, you can see once I click preview under the mailings tab, come down and click the preview, and you see you can actually navigate the records. I'm currently in the last record, which is the 240th record, which is merged against this one letter we have created. So we don't need to do repetitive copying and pasting and editing and removing and putting the original. So you can see, in fact, let me highlight those places. Okay, let me navigate so you can see. Let me go back to the first record, and once I click here to go to the first record, you can see it says dear Doe. If I click 2, it should say the dear the next record, 3 dear the next record, 4 dear the next record, that way. And you see my document is dynamically changing to speak to the appropriate person. And that is how the power of Microsoft Word and the computing generally. So to use Microsoft Word, make sure you use it such that your life is not hell but enjoyable. So if your boss gave you this draft and you typed it out, and then you are supposed to now respond to all that data, and you did this within seconds after you've typed the first draft and then finalize and you do this mail merging, then you could respond to his need within some few minutes, which wouldn't have been possible if you were sitting there copying and pasting and then generating the same document, and you may even press a key and then lost some of the data in one of the letters. But with this, as we just did this, we only have a last step to go, whereby we'll merge it, we'll finish the merging, and then the document can generate into the 240 pages. Or we can choose to print some selected records. So let's go to the last where we can print this. Let me print the edit the documents, because I'm not printing to a printer now. It will be a waste of material. We are demonstrating. If we want to send it to an email, then we could send, and all the 200 people should be having that if their email was there. So now we are going to edit the documents individually. Now it will tell us to merge to a new document. Now we are merging to a new document such that it now behaves like we have done the copy and paste. But in this case, it's the computer who is going to do the copy and pasting and make a document of 240 within seconds, which you, the human being, would have struggled but do it. So now we are going to do the whole thing. We are choosing all. If we wanted to do for the first 5 records, then we would have done this, type 1 and then type 5, so that it would have printed, it would have generated the first 5 pages into a new document, or just the current document page that we are in. It would have printed the current record, which is record 46. In this case, it would have printed a letter for the person who is the 46th person in the records that we have in the database. But in this case, for our learning purpose, let's generate all to see how it does that. So let's see. We'll see a new document soon, and my computer is the one bothering. Otherwise, this should have been okay by now. So it generates all our letters of 240, and note all of them will also contain this I refuse. This my stick guy I refuse to remove. All of them So now let's see. If you look at it at the top there, you see it is called letter 1. The original document is there and it has been merged into individual documents. Then we can see if we go down, I didn't remove those second page. Something I kept there for the purpose of demonstration. So that is mail merge. It has created our letters. The letter is a 2-page document because that yellow I'm seeing there, I kept it there to just remind you to practice. So thank you, and I hope this is a useful tutorial.